Do you know what I randomly remembered the other day? And I was like, oh, I miss you.
Careful, we're recording.
Okay. I said what? I didn't say who. Ugh. It was the bow type.
Oh,
You see? The word Tiny Jane just came to my head and I was like, oh, I miss you guys actually.
shout out Aisha D, man. Still
Shout
following
out
her on
IGD.
Instagram.
Uh
And
although we
Megan
knew
K. Although
yeah,
we've lost her to the larger crowd now.
yeah, but at least we knew her first. We had her first. We always wanted to do well. Speaking of losing to the larger crowd, I'm really excited to start Penguin. Um Only for Christian Milioti. Are you a Christian Milioti fan?
I'm not a truther like you, but yeah,
You're
I'm a
not a
fan.
truther like me.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think like the right time to get obsessed with her was after How I Met Your Mother. An okay time was after like A to Z and Fargo. The last possible time was after like her beautiful Modern Love episode
Mm.
and Palm Springs. At this point, if you're just coming on board now, as in like whatever seat you find on the train, just take. Which is like us Christian Milioti truthers have been here since. I'm really excited to talk about this episode with you. Yeah, this is might be the most excited I've been to podcast in a very long time
Really?
because I don't know
Interesting.
where this podcast is going to go.
I don't know where it's going to go either.
Okay, I'm ready to start.
Always ready to start.
Do you have
Never
any
ready to
person?
finish.
Do you have any female actress that you want to establish your truth for before we start?
Who am I feeling these days? Look, it's been
Who
a
am
long
I
time
feeling this?
since I've been like, oh, I mean, I just watched an interview with her, but like, I think it's well documented. My Florence Pugh love.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing. There's no one new. Look, Miriam Peche. I don't know how to pronounce her last name,
yeah.
but I might go from
Um,
being a sweet pea truther to be to
to a
being a
Miriam
Miriam
truth.
truther. Yeah, we'll see.
Um,
Also, you
yeah.
know, if Jess Beautiful ever wants to get into acting, I'll be number one.
I don't know who you're talking about, but let's move on. I don't know who
Jess
Just
Beautiful,
Beautiful is.
Jess Lovely, Jess Black from Love
Um,
Island.
okay, let's talk about industry.
If we must.
Yes, we must. Welcome to the ground floor of something truly spectacular. Oh, and welcome back to the Popcorn for Dinner podcast. I'm Bankole and Eyo, and yes, we're at yet another News Baron's landmark birthday party. We're discussing the industry season 3 finale and also the season as a whole. And joining me one final time, amicably, guys, he had me at Netta Porter. It's Eyo and how you doing?
Amicable.
Amicable. Well done. Let's.
So good.
I should have done an amicable count of how many times they wrote it in that scene.
I think four.
Oh my god. How you doing? Industry finale.
I'm sad. I can't lie. Like I watched the whole episode with just this ennui. I was like, damn, it's actually over. This is the
The
last.
the
One.
listless ennui of the rich, according to
No,
Robert. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
it's like
Um.
when you finish a good book, or you know you're towards the end of a good book, and you're like, damn, what am I gonna do when someone is not explaining these economic models to me anymore?
Mine wasn't ennui. Mine was anxiety. I don't know. Just like I want them to land it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do
It's
you
kind
think
of
they
yeah.
landed it?
Well, we'll get into that, won't we? We'll get into
How?
that.
This is us getting into it. When else will we
So
get to it?
I have to do admin because there's a lot of admin to do. Well,
Sorry.
we need to pay. We need to pay the
Sorry. Shake
bills.
your ass. Go ahead. Work
Speaking
for
of
them.
paying bills, thank you to everyone who has, first of all, just let me start, has paid, giving us some money, donated some money through the Buy Me a Coffee link. Stop laughing, which is in the description or the show notes wherever you listen to this. Thank you very much. it's only your initials, so I can't really like shout you out because they just put the initials. But yeah, thank you very much for anyone has donated any amount of money. It's really, really pleasing. Also thanks to everyone who's like worked with us during this past 2 months of industry, even the larger run of like The Boys and House of the Dragon. All your support has been great. We've loved engaging with your tweets, your YouTube and Spotify comments, everything. So industry has been, I don't know, the industry always make it emotional because like not like this all like we grew it. Like there are people that listened to us cover industry season 2 and came back for season 3, and it's just like we built this community, and I really like that. And I'm happy that we get to talk about this episode after we know that it's been renewed for season 4. Because a pretty different discussion if we didn't. um but yeah, like I said, please rate and review. All the links for like our newsletter to support us are all in the description. Please check that out. Quick programming notes. We're going to go on a little break for most of October and maybe a bit of November as well. We just need some. Hey, what is it?
Wow. You let them rest?
Let them. Wow. No, they're still working. Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
good.
Quote unquote rest. Let them rest. That's insane. Yeah, but we need some time to cool down. Like, yeah, I think I've been podding every week since like Mr. and Mrs. Smith in January. So, yeah, yeah, I know, right? Well, this is real hard work, mining work. But before then, before we go on that break, the House of Dragon crew are coming back next week, Monday, to like rank all the episodes from season 2. So you can listen to that. And then the week after, obviously that same week is the slowest finale. So please check that out. And then the week after, Ibuka and I will come back to just shout out some shows that are coming back in October and November that won't be covering. So just in case you are looking for shows to fill your slow horses stroke industry void. And then we'll start the break. But even during that break, is the cinema will return. They'll be previewing some of the fall movies that are coming out soon, discussing whether Joker. Okay, whatever. Discussing whether Joker 2 is or isn't a musical. So yeah, there's still a lot of stuff to do and to listen to during that period. So please check that. And we'll be back in November. Hopefully with Bad Sisters. We'll see how that goes. A little bit of personal admin. This will be my final. No, okay. No, quickly. So by the time you're listening to this, we may have decided when to put out We Move, which is the short film that I wrote and co-directed. So if we have decided on the dates, there will probably be a link in the description. Please, yeah, just if you think it's terrible, don't message me. But if you have constructive criticism, please message me. If all you're going to say is that it's bad and it sucks, I already know that, so you don't have to tell me that. But if you have constructive criticism, please let me know. But yeah, we'll probably put a link in the description. Want to get it's my first anything. So yeah, it'd be really nice if you guys can let me know what you think. Okay. Hey, yeah, you ready to talk about industry?
You
Do
can't
you have any
do that
comments
kind
about
of
my
like
admin?
selfie-facing humor, but also be trying to sell something. It just doesn't work.
Why not?
Why should I go and watch it when you think it's terrible, Banky? It's not
Because
terrible.
I may be wrong. Oh, thank you.
Trash.
Why do you think it's not? Why do you think it's not terrible? Let's cancel our industry plans. Why do you think it's not terrible?
Because I enjoyed it, so it's not terrible.
Oh, thank you. I mean,
Big.
Conrad said something about this when he was here, wasn't he? It's like after a while, everything you did looks, you can see all the flaws. So it's not terrible. I'm really proud of it actually, but I still like. There's nothing you're going to tell me that I probably don't already know, unless it's constructive, which I want to know. But
Okay,
I'm really
fair.
proud of it. It's the first thing I've been able to do from start to finish. I'm really proud of it. Okay, let's talk about industry. The season 2 finale. Season 3 finale, sorry, you're right. The season 3 finale, written and directed by show creators Mickey Down and Conrad K. Okay, here's the thing, guys. I want to apologize to any listeners and viewers right now because looking at my outline, there is a strong chance that this coverage might not follow the routes that we normally take. I don't actually know where this conversation is going to go. We're going to see. So I can't promise that the conversation will be like the status quo. But that being said, the trading desk guys, this is the first time they're hearing about this anyways, are going to cover this in more in-depth than they usually do. So, because obviously there's no episode to preview next week. So, yeah, I think between the two of us, you'll probably have a good fix for your regular coverage. So, okay, Eyo, are you ready to talk about industry's series finale? Which is how I was like, all through, I was just like, is this the end of the show? What are we doing here? Okay, I'm going to start this conversation with two questions. Both are important to me, to conversation we're going to have, but only one is important to me, really. Did you like this episode? And the second one is, do you think the public is going to like this episode?
I liked it.
Okay.
I didn't love it.
Oh, okay.
I think the public will also like it. And well, it depends on what type of public.
Go on that. No, continue. Stay on that. What do you mean? What type of
Because
public?
I feel like it's a very low-key episode and it ties up everything, but then also opens up everything at the very end. But I think because it's so low-key compared to the rest of the season, like literally, this is the first time I feel like we've rested.
Yes.
It's not as relentless as the other episodes. And if you're primed for that, then you might leave a little disappointed. But I feel like TV does this. This is what TV does. Usually, well, not usually, but like a lot of shows have taught us that episode 9, quote unquote, is
Since Game of Thrones season 1. That's kind of been the
episode 9 is the episode, and then whatever happens after is just like
sweeping up the debris.
Exactly.
So I agree with you in that it's not, no one gets stabbed in the back this episode as in previous finales. Well, we'll get into all of it, but like, I get it, there's no big thing, but I actually do think there were a lot of big things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there are a lot of big things. There's just no moment.
There's no
apart
Twitter
from
moment.
there's one Twitter moment. Look, all the big things happen to one character, really. That character is having a bad day, or couple days, or couple months.
I think we're on the same page of the character, but obviously we'll find out as we go on.
But I think, so we can talk about what we think the big things are. I think and in my head, this is a final, but I think the resolution of the Yaz and Rob ship.
Yaz and Rob?
Yeah.
So let me preface that by saying,
go ahead.
I watched this entire, at least the first time I watched it, my mental state throughout this entire episode was, I can't believe you're doing this. Like, as in to Mickey and Cora, not for a particular character or plot line, just like I think I was talking to William Goodman, who was on episodes last week. And I was like, it's just the audacity that he had to pull off so many storylines here and so many things here. Like, we always talk about how they don't hold any storylines back and they treat every episode like it's their penultimate episode. But this episode is like,
it's a movie.
It's just like, and like back to the thing about running and all of that stuff. Like, it's just so many plot points and so many things. There are some characters which I want to get to that go through a season's worth of storyline.
Yeah.
In this one episode, in like 5 scenes, right? I'm just like, so to me, it was just the audacity of them being able to do this. I was so focused on that I don't think I was so impressed with that. I don't think I was even focusing on what was actually happening on screen onto some particular points. But like on second watch, obviously you're like, when all that's out of your head, you're like, appreciate what's actually on screen. But yeah, so you said the Yaz and Robert thing. Do you want to just start there?
I mean, that is the episode. Everything happens to them.
Okay, I'm actually happy you said that. Because I thought that was crazy. Because apart from that, like, I just think it's the best part of the episode.
Yeah.
By a country mile, and I'm sorry.
I mean, no sweet pea means it can't be by a country mile, but yeah, I agree.
And I think the Norton scene is the best scene of the episode.
It's so good. Oh, I was actually pissed off watching it. I was like,
how good it was.
I was so angry. I was like, how are you doing this?
So okay, let's pause a bit. We'll definitely get into those things a bit more, but let's focus. I want to still just like the larger picture, because there's a podcast that I listen to. No free
Wow.
ads. I won't mention the name.
Fucking podcasting guy.
Like 3 people are going to know this reference or this line. Hello, Aisha. But he says that great shows teach you how to watch them. Right? You don't watch Breaking Bad the way you would watch Succession. You don't watch Barry the way you would watch Veep.
You don't watch Mad
But
Men.
yeah. I think industry changes what happened.
No, you didn't. No worries. It was a joke. It was a joke. You don't watch Mad
Oh,
Men.
I
Full
think you
stop.
just said Mad Men as an example.
No, I was just saying you don't watch Mad Men because I haven't finished it.
Yeah, well, I don't. You see, most of the time, I try not to throw you under the bus. I know the shows that you haven't watched. I mentioned the shows that you have watched. But no, my
Nigga,
point is that I think
Barry just now. I don't watch Barry.
Yeah, but there was no other example. You see, you keep throwing yourself under this bus. Like
I don't
I
care
am
about
not.
the bus. I'm bigger than the bus. Which bus?
Bigger. I'm bigger than the boss.
No,
no, but I think in industry so far, it based on that premise, it changes the manual year after year, and it's like you think you can watch this show as a vibe show in season 1 or just like this young grads, and then it becomes this kind of business show, right? All through season 2, and then season 3, I don't even know how to describe it yet, but I feel like in the finale, this finale alone, it changes again. Like even in the middle of this finale, it changes the kind of show it is. Like in my head, it goes from a show about Eric's scene to all the Pierpoint employees. I think that scene is industry, let's say 3.0. And then the Norton Yasmin scene is industry 4.0.
4.0. Fair.
It becomes a different show within the same one episode. And I was like, what is going on here? I don't know if it's like the idea of trying to create something, and that's been a lot on my mind recently, but just like, how are you guys doing this? Like, why are you guys doing this? Who is allowing you guys to do this? Like, so if you come into the show thinking this show is episode 7, like that's the pinnacle of this show, and that's how the show wants me to watch it, and you see that is for like half of the episode up to the Eric scene, you're like, okay, this makes sense, it tracks. All of a sudden it becomes this whole family, personal character dynamic, which obviously has always been there, but then in the Yasmine and Robert scene, it becomes way more forefront, and you're like, oh, this is a different show. And it's just very impressive to have 2 different shows in the one episode. I was just like, you didn't do your evolution in between seasons. You did it in the middle of an episode, which to me was just like, I can imagine somebody who doesn't need to pay as much attention as we are because they're not covering it on the podcast, or unfortunately maybe are second screening it, so they're on Twitter as well as they're watching it or whatever. I can imagine them be like, wait, what just happened? Like subconsciously, how did this show change? When did this show change? Which is why I will be very honest to you, I'm very scared about the perception that audiences might get from this episode.
Really? I'm not at all.
I may be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I'm willing to bet money that you're wrong.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, I don't know. I feel like because of what happens, forget the tone for now.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like what happens plot-wise is very industry. Like it is an industry finale. So it, especially for this season, right? It wraps up a 3-season long, and I don't know. We can get deeper into it, but I think it's wrapping it up. Like I think that's done. It wraps up that storyline very well. It opens it wraps up the Rishi storyline and then opens another door for Rishi to walk through as a character. Like he might be getting a spin-off. That is a spin-off show that I'm going to watch because do you know what? Because that's a BBC show.
That is a BBC show, isn't it?
Show. Yeah. Anyways,
like a BBC cop show. Yeah, you're right.
It is. So there's the Rishi one. It wraps up a really good storyline. I think it wraps up an incredible arc for Harper this season, which I wasn't sure they were going to do. I didn't think they were going to do that. I thought she would play a more supporting role in the overall story. I didn't think she was going to have like her own, fully realized arc.
I didn't even yeah, and I also didn't, even if you told me 100% that's what they're going to do, I didn't think that that's how they're going to do. I didn't think
Yeah,
this character was going to become, and we'll get to Harper. Guys, this will probably be a long episode. I didn't think
it
this
is.
character was going to become who she became at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so I think it does a lot of what the fans of the show are expecting it to do. Give Harper some impetus back. Let her
mm,
interact with Eric a little bit, which who also gets a nice wrap up, and then we will definitely see him again. Rob gets a nice send
if there's
off.
one character that I think isn't at least a main character for next season, it's him.
It's Eric, right?
I can I can see that happening. If you tell me to pick one character, it would be him.
Interesting. Why not Rob, who is by all accounts has left
Because
this industry, quote
I
unquote.
think Rob's story, there's still, you can still tell Rob's story within the industry world.
Of
He's
course you can.
still in that, like you can, it's just a different continent, which, spoiler alert, we'll get into it, but Harper wants to go back to that continent as well.
Yeah.
So even if it's different coasts. So like I still think there can be, and it could be like you could say, oh, want to see Roberts like on top of the world season, or he could just be another industry is kicking his ass.
Kicking his butt. But yeah, I agree with you though.
Yeah.
Like I think Eric we might not see more, and I think that ties into the what I think is the overall theme of this season,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know if I mentioned to you on air, but do you know what I think it is?
I mean, the last time you said it was masculinity, so I don't know if it's still the same overall thing, but you've
Related
changed your mind.
is
Oh,
is
what is it?
related.
What is
Patricide.
it? Oh, I don't think you mentioned it. You mentioned it, but I don't think you mentioned it as a theme. You mentioned
I
it last
think I
week.
think yeah, I think that's at least from this finale, man. Everybody kills their dad, and then kind of becomes their dad.
That's funny because I think we agree that season two's theme was dads and daughters. I don't
Yeah.
know if we went on all in on patricide, but
No,
it
no,
should just
no.
be it to be the natural evolution now
It
to
is.
it becoming patricide. Um, yeah, I mean, okay, so I think this is a double-edged sword of thinking about these things so deeply and trying to make it make sense not only to myself but to people that are listening. Is that I start bringing up these questions as well. Because you're right, I may be wrong. Maybe most of probably just like, oh, that's a
So
great
sure
industry
you're
episode.
wrong.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's me being like, okay, how do people understand? Because most people probably don't even see these changes like that.
I would say that a lot of people wouldn't see the like what you're describing. I don't think they'd see
Mm-hmm.
it because
Okay.
it is done in steps. It's unlike last week's episode where, there was this super intense thing happening. And
Yeah.
then on the other side, there was this like really, moving character
Character
story
study. Yeah.
building.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, it isn't. There's nothing. The intense stuff happened, and
Yeah.
now everybody's just dealing with
With the
that,
after
and
effects. Yeah.
it is quite not relaxed but subdued.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're right. I don't think no, I was gonna say there's a point where I lean forward, but there is actually there
There
was a
is,
point in the episode where I leaned forward. Well, it's for a different reason from the reason like we leaned forward in previous episodes. Um, but I guess I get what you're saying. I think it's a thing of I am having to, or I'm choosing not having. I'm choosing to reverse engineer their decisions and look at their
yeah.
skeleton and figure out why they did things. And I guess that's part of being a podcaster, and also just wanting to write things here. Okay. And then I'm like, okay, will people understand it? Will not understand that's wrong, but will people appreciate this? Will people like this? Will people not like this? But there are two scenes, or rather two sections that kind of I was like, oh, and I don't want to do Somerset, but I want to hold over because Somerset I have a lot about Somerset. Rishi, do you want to do Rishi now or
Let's do Rishi
should we
first.
let's do Rishi
Let's do
first?
Rishi first because I think it's the cleanest one.
So we'll talk about Rishi and Harper, but I'll say that the Rishi and Diana scene was the one scene which I liked. And did you see it coming?
Of course not. Are you supposed to?
I saw it coming.
Really? At what point?
And when the music started to swell and drowning
Ah,
her out. And this goes to a larger point where I think, and obviously I can say this because Mickey and Karen directed these two episodes. I feel like they are making the show, and obviously William kind of talked to this last week. They're making the show now more in line with their film tastes.
they're moving. Yeah, yeah.
And I think like we share a few tastes. Like I like some of the movies that they talk about. And I think some of that, so I'm like, oh, okay. As someone who also likes that movie and that director, I can see where, like, there was a point where I was like, this guy has to shoot her at this point, right? And then the music started to swell. I was like, this is hilarious if he shoots her now, because like it makes you feel like it's drowning her out and we're going to leave the scene. And so when he shoots her, I was like, I literally nodded. I was like, yeah, that
Nice.
tracks. That tracks.
Ice cream.
I was like, are you a psychopath? Why are you happy with that? But I was like, yeah, that tracks with the kind of people that I know Mickey and Conrad are. Not people, but like creators and writers. I was like, yeah, it tracks. And again, it goes, and I was talking to William about this as well on Twitter. And then he was like, that was the one thing, sorry if I'm playing up his spot, but he was like, that's the one thing that he kind of like rubbed off against at first. But then the more he thought about it, I was like, yeah, actually, it makes sense because Rishi needs to get some punishment. It might seem easy from a writing standard to kill Rishi, but then it's just like, I always think death is an easy out in this kind of things because you don't get to live with the consequences, right? And also just from the mobster's point of view, Vinay, who you called 3 weeks ago the kindest mobster.
Man, he showed me.
From his point of view, what's part of killing Rishi? Rishi owes you £600,000.
Yeah, but
like you can't kill him. How'd you get the money
fair,
back?
He doesn't know that Rishi's wife is probably fastest way to getting any of that money back.
That's true. But I mean, if anything, now that she's dead, maybe we should get the money. But yeah, I mean, from his point of view, you don't kill Rishi because you need to get your money back. But you kill Diana to make everybody know that you're like
serious.
You're serious. So yeah, he was like, yeah. When he thought about it on like second watch, was like, oh yeah, this actually makes sense because Rishi needs to be held accountable for everything that's happened since episode 4. So yeah, no. So to me, I was like, okay, is this the one thing? And again, it goes back to the other point of maybe reverse engineering. I was like, people think this show is a different show. I think that's my problem.
That is probably, for me, if there's anything in the episode that might pull people out of quote unquote industry, it would be that. Yeah. I feel like people might accuse the show of jumping the shark a little by doing that. But I think if you think about it for a little bit, I think you understand that it doesn't really change the bones of what the show is. Not really.
I think you're right. I also think the moment that Vinay is introduced in episode 4 as a gangster and we are put through an quote unquote Uncut Gems episode, we have to see something like this coming. You get what I'm saying? We have to expect this. It's a bit flimsy if they introduce a gangster, a mobster, a loan shark. He doesn't do anything violent.
I mean, a headshot super violent. Maybe a few fingers.
Oh, yeah, it is super violent.
A few fingers, maybe, but like.
We can make the argument that a few fingers it's not more violent, but it's a different kind of mobster. Like him shooting her was, I don't think he planned on shooting her when he came to the house.
I don't think he did. No,
but someone that puts up your fingers, that's like Goodfellas kind of situation. That's like, that's like. Anyway, but yeah. So, but did it take you out? It didn't take you out from industry. That was the one thing. And look, let's talk about Rishi and Harper. That scene. Because that was the sequence I said I moved in, because that sequence is immediately followed by the Norton and Yasmine scene where you're just like, okay, this is just incredible. And in this scene, I'm like, oh, okay. Actually, no, let's do this when we're doing Harper properly.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. Yeah.
Okay, should we do Somerset?
Can we do Sweet Pea because we're talking about Rishi?
But we'll do Sweet Pea when we're doing Harper. It's the same scene.
Sweet Pea, no, fine.
Okay, let's talk about Sweet Pea. Let's talk about Sweet Pea, jeez. Okay. We're doing Sweet Pea.
He tells Rishi time's up, and I just thought that was so fun.
So funny. So funny.
So fun.
like the placement. Is that on my notes? So funny. I was like, you guys like just
nice one.
It was so funny. But it's also it's also funny because Harper starts that by saying, Rishi, do you think you're a predator?
Yeah, that's why it's funny. That's why it's funny. Yeah.
Okay, let's do Somerset.
Do you want to start before Somerset?
When I meant the whole thing. Because I was just saying this was the other part. I was like, okay, will this take people out? And not from this is not industry thing, but they just viscerally reacts to the resolution because we know how Twitter can be. I want to say people, by the way, I mean online people. I don't mean because that's all we can. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they call people in real world. So this is just like, that's what I'm using when I say people. Let's start before Somerset then. On their way back from
At
Wales.
the gas station.
At the gas station. What do you want to ask there? Because I feel like you might have questions.
I have a question.
Which is,
Do you think that Yasmine calls Henry because she's completely repulsed by the vision of normalcy that she sees in front of her?
yes.
I think she's so disgusted when she sees the mom in the car with the children fighting at the back, and then she turns and sees Rob scratching off a lottery.
She's like, what is this?
She's like, no.
But the follow-up to that is, do you think she always know what she wanted to do with Henry in Somerset?
No. I think she makes her mind up then and there. Wait, what do you mean?
Like marry.
Before then?
Like when she calls him, is she calling him with the intention to like get back together with him and eventually ask him to marry her?
I think get back together for sure. Because after the call that she has with the head of the board at Hanani Publishing, I think when they ask, what's your family? Or like, which family?
Yeah.
I think she makes it on there to say, okay, fine. I still know Norton. So let me go and see if I can. Yeah. But I don't think she knows she's going to like marry him. I think
she's lying to Robert.
Use Henry. Yes, I think she's lying to Robert.
Although she told Mock about the fund or whatever, but so she's lying to him. Okay.
I think so.
I think that she was just like, this, what is this? Like
rubbish. If I was disgusting snack, she's like
like Rob, it's 9 a.m. Like I think the mother thing, this because I was thinking like Robert could have been doing anything in the shop. They could have been buying a drink, but they showed him playing and not. Do you think it's worse to Yasmine that he doesn't expect to win?
I think that just crystallizes a bit more for her that she can't understand that, like, his class of people.
Yeah.
Like, she's just like, I don't get it. I don't get why are you doing it if you know? If you know, you're not gonna, why are you doing it? But it makes perfect sense to him.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
I think she's her mind is made up at that point.
It makes lots of things that happen. Anyway, okay, let's go. Let's talk about this thing. So they go to Somerset, which is where Harry is at. Like I said, I think
is incredible.
His first fit?
Yeah, his first fit. I need it.
Something else about, what'd you say?
I need it. I'm gonna go find myself a fit like that. What it?
Do you have a connector Net-a-Porter? My first thing there is that him and Yasmine are matching. Like in terms of colors.
Yeah, you're right.
And I was like, which is, I can't remember what Robert was wearing, but it wasn't like direct contrast. I think Robert was wearing blue, like blue or something. But like it's direct. And I was like, oh, what are they? At that point, I was like, what are they trying to say? Yeah, like why are Mock and Yasmine matching here? And Mock is in white basically all through the episode until the dinner.
Yeah.
Which I guess was put to symbolize his rebirth. This episode, obviously I said this is the part of the episode by far for me. It's also the part of the episode that stayed with me the longest. It's the only part of the episode that has appeared in my dreams. Even though it was a remix of the storyline, but it still like featured Rob, Yasmine, Alondra. Like it was just Somerset.
Did you dream about Mark? That's crazy.
I didn't dream about Mark, but I would own if I dreamt about Mark. I think we're allowed to dream about Kit Harington. No, but I mean that sequence, and I don't know, man. Like very as well as most people that I'm currently obsessed with this idea of like the what if love, and when two people clearly love each other and just can't make it work, think past lives or whatever. And so the Robert and Yasmine thing was incredibly heartbreaking for me. Like I think second time watching, I think I was this close to tears.
Yeah.
Like it was. I mean, when Mickey and Conrad are throwing in the when they're throwing in the clips of like season 1 and season 2, I'm like, you don't need to do this. This seems entirely unfair.
That was the only point in the episode that I was like, that's a little over the top.
Yeah, just like, but like, if you're close to tears or at that point, it will kick you over the edge.
Yeah.
And they say then because like it might be over the top, but like what is the effect of the filmmaking that you're trying to make there? What are you trying to do? Right. It's one thing to just show Robert and Yasmine staring at each other.
This is interesting. So you as a filmmaker, which one do you think would have been more effective? Or do you think it would have been more effective to just do them staring at each other and having the actors act out, reliving the montages in their head? Maybe even a little tear.
So here's the thing.
With a smile, but a tear anyway.
Here's what I can tell you, probably for a fact, that they watched both edits.
Fair.
Like with and without the montage.
Fair.
And they settled on the montage one. I can't wait to hear Mickey and Tara talk about this episode when episode comes out. I think you're right that throwing in the montage leans a bit too much into the norm, the median, like the average kind of show. I think the quote unquote more prestige shows would kind of leave it to just the actors.
They hold the look.
But I don't think you can deny the fact that to 9 out of 10 viewers, the montage is more effective.
That's fair.
Because, like, what did they say? Nostalgia is only good when you're selling something. Like, nostalgia hits, all these things. Like, there's a reason fan edits and fan cams blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason they exist. It's because, so, I'll be surprised if they're like, oh no, it was always going to be the montage from the script and we never changed it. I can imagine that they were like, do we want to do this? Is this too schlocky? And I think there are pros and cons for everything.
Fair.
I think if it's going to be the final, like you say, the final nail in the coffin of this relationship, I think it makes sense to show the montage of.
Yeah, that is why I was like, okay, fair.
Yeah.
Because for me, the montage represents this is the end.
Yeah.
Whereas
and I think
no montage means maybe.
100%. I think if they're going to meet up and be a couple in season 4, episode 3, then it's like, why did we do the montage? Yeah. But I also think
they wrote this as a warning.
Don't do that. I also think they wrote and shot this as a series finale.
Fair.
As they've always done. They're like, if it ends like this, there are threads that we can follow up if we do get renewed. I'm sure by the time they did this, they were still in the same headspace. I don't think HBO were like, your 100% gets in season 4. By the time they were shooting this, maybe like a year ago.
Maybe, yeah.
Right. So I think they've always done that. Like they shoot it in a way, they write and shoot a finale in a way that it could be the series finale, but if it's not, they always have like threads they can pull on. And I think if it's a series finale and this is the end of their story, it says a lot about both characters. And it makes that montage make sense in a series finale.
It does.
Right, because you're showing these characters maybe 5 years, thereabout, of screen time. And then the actors themselves, maybe about 6 years of acting. They looked so weird. They looked so different. You're like, oh, you guys have actually gone from like 20, 21, 22 to 27, 28. So, yeah, what was your verdict on the whole use of the montage or not?
I just thought I would have preferred a look and more acting over a montage. But that's just me. I think the montage was effective and I think it's supposed to be there. Yeah. Because without it, I think a door is still open in my mind. But with it, like it means something.
What I do think needed to be there was the flashback to like Robert remembering her saying, I've never loved anybody. Because I think Robert just you don't think it should have been there.
Too much.
I think Robert just smiling could be interpreted in so many ways if he's just driving off and smiling.
Good.
But I don't think it's meant to be good. I don't think it's meant to be. I think it's meant to be finite and definite, right? Like to our point.
What do you think his smiling means?
I think
I
his
think it's
smile is
still
that.
finite and definite, yes. And I don't think, we could be wrong, but that's what I think. I think it's
What
quite
would
clear. I think he's
what would it?
smiling because he's like, yeah. Why do you think he's smiling?
Well, I think he's smiling because like, yeah, I'm the one person. What we had was real. I'm the one person that she
Yeah,
got
I
to
was about
love, right?
to. Yeah.
But what do you think it means? Like, if, for example, they show him just driving up and they don't put the flashback, I would just see Robert smiling. How would you interpret that?
That they don't show the peer at all. Is that what you're
They
saying?
don't show the peer. No, yes.
I don't know. I'll be like, yeah, I'm like I'm happy
You
I
would
did this.
you would
Like
have
I'm
the same
happy.
interpretation.
Yeah, more or less. Like maybe not directly that I was the one that she did love, but
Hmm.
I think it would still be the same general interpretation that yes, this was real and I'm happy it happened. And like I've always known that it was going to end up in this scenario. So
I don't
like,
think he's always known though.
okay, not always, but I think he knows quite by season 2. I think Rob is sure.
What's
I
okay?
think he
Let me give you a
hopes,
question.
but I think he's quite
As a
sure that
viewer, as a viewer of TV, if you're in the editing room and you got to pick one of those flashback stroke montages to remove and one to keep, which one do you
I keep the
get rid
peer
of? Okay, yeah,
always.
same. Yeah, same. Um, this is kind of heartbreak that makes you lock the fuck in.
Because he's locked
Bro,
in.
this kind of thing where like I mean like I wrote we move like 2 months after after heartbreak.
That's a
This kind
heartbreak.
of thing this kind of thing you're like, fuck that shit. I'm focusing on my work. And you lock in with incredible specificity. I was like, yeah, this tracks. This is like um God, I so that sequence, should we go to the table when they announce it? And Harry Lotta's face when she says we're engaged, and he's just like, what are you talking about? You just said those 3 magic words to me like the night before. Um Gosh. What do you think when she said those
I
3 magic
liked
words?
when they're having sex.
Yeah.
I was happy for them because I was like, I believe it.
Wait, what magic word? Oh, you said, oh, I love you. Okay, yeah, sorry, continue. You liked
So I was happy for
oh,
them. I believed this from her. I
okay,
was
no,
like,
I think we
because
just
of
got yeah, okay. That was 3 magic words. Your 3 magic words, I love you. That makes sense. That tracks.
yeah,
You're
what are
romantic.
your 3 magic words?
Um
we are engaged. What are the 3 magic words? What are your 3 magic words? What were you asking?
oh my god. Oh, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. But the middle one is inside.
Oh,
Uh
nice.
okay.
Ah,
Okay, no, okay, let's be serious. Let's be serious. Yeah, let's talk about I mean the shot of just them at the table
that's their big one. You know
is
how we said their big one was the lift scene
mhm.
last episode? I think this was their big one.
I had this on my notes later, but I was so happy because I felt like they had more fun directing this episode. The kind of fun I did not see in episode 7. Like it seemed like there were a lot more. There's some shots in this episode. I was just like, that's just insane. We
Like
can touch on the shot of Eric after the speech, just alone in the hall in the seminar room thing. When Yasmin's on the bed, she looks like a speck of dust, like in the room. Obviously, you have the shot of like Eric throwing the baseball bat at the camera.
mm.
And then that shot of just 2 of them just mentally talking. Yeah. Anyway, look, like I said, this stuff broke. Let's actually give it some credence and talk about like Yasmin's decision here and
Yes.
what that says for
Yes.
her, about her. Um, and we can start that by just talking about the noting scene, which again I said is the best scene of the episode.
And I think
Um,
that's where she makes her decision.
yes, which again is just so heartbreaking because from there she runs to Robert and has
Yeah.
sex with him,
Yeah.
and he doesn't know it's goodbye sex,
Yeah. He can know.
but she does, which is again heartbreaking. Um, yeah,
I loved the beginning of that scene though. I like how she comes into it with him and he's like, oh, happy to see you, blah, blah, blah. Did you sleep well? And she was like, I can't sleep in this house. And then he says he says this house has been here before me. It will be here after me. And I was like, wow, rich people really be thinking about stuff that I can never think about. Because I would, like in a million years, I'll never let a house oppress me. But
house oppress me.
But if that house is worth tens of millions of dollars, it will oppress you.
Oh, never. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Norton's talk this episode was very like morbid.
It's sad.
And yeah, like he knew. I was like, bro, you're turning 60, not 90. Like it was maybe like he thought he had a terminal disease or whatever. So Norton talks about his dad, and then he mentions how he bred a special type of misandry in him.
Special type. Loved it.
And then I was like, oh, this is funny, coming from the person who 2 episodes ago was like, unfortunately, I have only daughters.
Period.
So I have to leave up to Henry. But then I was thinking, and Haja on our episode after episode 6, our preview episode of episode 6 mentioned this, the trading desk. And I was like, oh, maybe he's not saying that as in like, I can only give it to men. He's just like, that's the institution.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not really, it's out of my control. Because Henry, for example, is moving around this estate with the air of someone that knows it's his.
Like the air.
And yeah, exactly. And clearly, it's not as if Norton's daughters hate him for not giving it to him. Right. So it's just a thing that they all just know. So it's not him being a misogynist, it's just him being an establishment man. And I was like, oh, okay, this actually tracks now. Because in my head, I was like, he's talking about like the papers, right? Your brain goes to Succession or whatever. But I was like, oh no, he's talking about like the castles and the land and the things that he cannot change because he doesn't have that power. And I was like, oh, okay. And then they unleash on this incredible powerhouse scene where he says to Yasmine, I should have written it down, but he says, don't let the public's unfair victimization of your privilege blind you from the fact that you are special. Something along those lines.
And that's all she's wanted to hear all season.
Bro, Marissa's reaction, her face.
So good.
You can literally see it welling up. You can literally see the tears forming. And then, like, when he's like, can I hug you? And I was like, I mean, I would say there's a split second that I'm so industry peeled that I thought this scene was going to take a dark turn, but it didn't. So I'm very thankful about that.
Look, that's me with every scene.
I was like, the last time an older man hugged Yasmine, this was not great, but I'm happy that it didn't go there. And I was like, oh, this is just beautiful. Like, this is exactly what she's been looking for, right? This is in her dad, in Eric. I was like, oh. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that scene was incredible.
It is.
And then he's like,
that like makes her mind up for her. She was like, yes, even if I can't really, because I don't think in the end she really trusts Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's like, okay, especially when he says that thing about chosen family.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, fine. I think I can trust Lord Norton.
Even from Norton's point of view, because I was like, Norton, why her? But I think he definitely sees, because like obviously Mark has had other girlfriends, probably other girlfriends that are from the aristocracy. But like Norton is like, no, it's her. She's the one that's going to save him from this dark cloud. And I'm going to like do everything I can to make sure she's there to stop him from committing suicide. And I was like, yeah. And I guess this is it, right? This is the future Yasmine can have. She cannot be a peer point trader. She has to be a trophy wife with her own things, inviting
thoroughly modern lady.
To her wedding.
How dare you call her a trophy wife?
So what is she?
A thoroughly modern lady.
Yeah, you're right. A thoroughly modern lady, Mark.
Yeah.
And then she says, I'm sorry to Robert. Or at least they mentally say this to each other. And then he says, I understand.
Yeah.
I love that he says I understand and not it's okay.
Yeah. Because
It's not okay, but he has to understand. Given that
This
a
thing.
few episodes ago, he literally told her this was what's going to happen.
True. This
Like,
made me really sad because we should mention that, like, again, yeah, back to your point of like, I think this might be their genre um love, like liking genre stuff, right? Genre of like thrillers and rom-coms and stuff like that. But like I think the use of the montage at the end for Mickey and Coral is very similar to the way they shoot that sex scene. Like the random shots of them running around and them dragging. Those are like they are template stuff, but they are template stuff for a reason. Like sometimes you just like
it's
you
effective.
yes, exactly. Right. You might be like, oh, what are they doing? This is come on, I've seen this
Oh,
in
I,
rom-coms.
I
But
really enjoyed that. I thought it
yeah,
was
exactly.
so,
You see that
so
you see that in
lovely.
rom-coms because
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, and it's like and I think those two things I hold them in the same regard, like
That's
the
fair,
montage
actually.
and that
When you
stuff.
contextualize it like that, that's fair.
But yeah, I mean, like I think that scene is it's a great. I can't. I was thinking, I was like, when did I fall in love with Robert so much? And I think it's just in season two. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, this is like, it really hit me. Like when he when Yasmin was like, we're engaged, and I guess we talk about the proposal scene because I think we can definitely say that Kit Harington was great this season, right?
He was immense.
Because he knocked out the random funny lines and whatever, but he's so broken in this scene when he's describing his nights that he does heroin.
Shed their needles.
It's like, it's like I sent you a message that you're deeply connected to my purpose. And I was just like, yeah, I was like, this is incredible. I was like, this is really good. It's like, I think he justified his presence in the season. I think there are lines here in this season, especially in this episode, that we didn't know Kit Harington could deliver.
Could do,
And like,
fair.
he did them. Yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts on the Somerset sequence before we move on?
I thought Lord Norton was excellent in this episode. Even
I
like his
did as well.
speech at the dinner, I thought was very well done. I also cracked up at him saying, like,
Fuck the king.
yeah, that was good. Fuck the King was excellent. But also him saying, you all are my life's work. And then the camera goes to Robert. It's just like, why are you here, actually? Actually, why are you here? Because you're not his life's work. But yeah, Fuck the King killed me. That was really good.
Yeah, I think I was thinking, you know what, Mostyn, Roger Barkley had like a lead for like most of the season, but noted really, if nothing else, they tied by the end of the season because this episode 6, everything he did with Aurora, I was like, oh, you've actually like we were not looking at you because you're not flashy, but you pulled it back in the last third. And I thought it was an excellent episode. I thought, like I said, the way he every line was filled with this tinge of dread, with the I guess with the thought of a man who's approaching a landmark birthday and has been thinking a lot about his life and everything. And I
and
was like, oh,
legacy.
this is
Yeah.
and legacy. Yeah, I was like, oh, this is this is very serious.
Did you like
Yeah,
the Yaz and Rob resolution?
like in what sense? Storytelling or personally?
Storytelling.
Oh, I think it makes sense. I think everything there makes sense. I viscerally hated it, like emotionally.
So, so interesting. Because like I was happy. I'm like, yes, this is how life happens. You wouldn't end up with Yasmin. It would
So,
have
okay,
been impractical.
that's a great point, and a great point that leads to, because again, let's rewind to past lives, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, this makes sense.
Yeah.
This is what should happen, but it doesn't make me feeling
Feel you happy. Yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
Yes, like, sorry, it doesn't stop me feeling sad because I'm like, again, Robert, even the Robert thing, I was thinking, I was like, how many people, like, you have a first love at 25? How many of them, like, think about them 20 years later? Like, in the grand scheme of things, this is not that deep a relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's deep for you guys living through it right now,
Yeah.
obviously. But in the grand scheme of things, the odds are you're not going to marry your first love that you had at 22, 23.
Yeah.
So everything tracks. It makes sense to me. You're right. As a storytelling thing, I think it makes sense. But I do think it is still quite heartbreaking. And it is still quite like, because I think what William last week was like, I just wish you guys could shut the shit out together. You could probably be a good couple. Because like, okay, I can't believe the first time they sleep together is like seconds before she announces that she's engaged to Mark. All these little things where you're like, this just compounds. But again, if they went to Somerset, she got engaged to Mark and Robert left, that's too clean for industry, right?
That's fair.
That doesn't bring the emotional complications that I feel like industry should have. No, so yeah, I agree with you. But you liked it, everything worked out for
I
you.
liked it. I loved it.
You're
Yeah.
cheering in your bedroom.
I was actually. I was like, yeah.
But
I'm
like
so
I said,
happy
also
you guys got to share that moment in the garden, which I think is the most romantic thing this show has ever done.
well, I mean, the bar is it's not that high.
It's not that high. It's not that high. Socialist Dave. Anyways,
Socialist.
I loved it.
No, I agree. I mean, obviously, like I said, I'm also in a space where I'm thinking about this kind of story, so it doesn't. It'd have been weird if it didn't make me feel emotional, because then I'm like, I'm not. It's not doing its job. Same way, it'd have been weird if Robert's drug trip did not make me feel emotional. Those are things that should. If they don't make me. Those storylines don't make me feel emotional. Then they're not effective, which is a terrible thing. Okay, should we do Harper?
Should we finish Yaz?
Have we not finished yet?
No.
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
She
takes another turn.
It does. How long can we go? Can we? She's about 1 hour 45 minutes. That's the longest we can go on this recording.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. But yeah, at the end of the episode, Yasmine has now hired her dad's boat. I don't know what they're called.
Paramour.
Yeah, I don't know what their actual job title is. But the lady that he was eating out on the boat.
It's just like a stewardess on the boat.
He's hired. Yeah, she's hired her.
Yeah, she's hired her. Yeah.
In order to stop her from, going to the press and giving her a job. So essentially buying her silence.
Yeah.
And then she's planning her wedding. And they have an incredible line there about how Carrie Johnson being on the RSVP list must have been an oversight.
Must have been a mistake.
Must have been an oversight. I was like,
just
was it actually?
For anyone who's listening that is not a British listener, who is that?
Oh, that is Boris Johnson's now wife, I guess. Are they now?
I think she's current
married?
wife. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, incredible.
Some other people on the list. The ones we saw, at least ones I remember, Harper Stern.
Yes.
Michelle Obama. Obviously,
yes.
Malala said no.
Malala said no.
And then they are so crazy for this because they did B.H. Obama.
Yeah.
They cannot be Obama. I would have known who Barack Obama is.
No, B.H.
Like Barack Hussein Obama.
Really good. But yeah, the Obamas have not, apart from Malala, the Obamas have not yet RSVP'd, which is why they're on that list. Maybe they'll still come. But yeah, they're going through the list, and then I guess she's done with work for the day because she asks, I forget her name.
Alondra, I think.
Alondra, yeah.
Maybe.
To do some coke with her. I was like, damn, this is crazy. This reminds me of the kind of stuff your daddy would do.
She has no friends.
Yeah.
And you're right,
It's kind of thing your daddy would do.
I didn't put that together.
I think for me that was what that scene was. And then, they do some emotional stuff, which is Alondra accuses her of being a child sexual assault victim.
12 years old is insane.
Charles was the worst.
12 years old is
like, insane. I knew he was bad, but like I didn't know he was the worst.
Last season we were like, oh, he's just a scoundrel, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not a rascal.
Even before we knew, obviously we found out that he was sleeping with some people. But back then we're like, okay, he's groomed some people. He's groomed some people. It's like, it's bad. But now we're like, oh no, he's like,
oh, he's evil.
Oh,
he's like the worst
of the worst.
Bruh. Yeah, so Alondra accuses Yaz of being one of his first victims.
she blows up and fires her. I think Yasmine has finished an arc in which she kills her dad and then becomes him.
But she
I
fires
think
her also after the hug
after the hug
that she appreciates.
and a little bit of tears. Yeah.
She wasn't going to fire her when she first accused her. It was after
No.
the hug that she was like, "Oh, I think she saw her." Like Alondra saw
Got
Yasmine
too close.
who
Yeah.
got way too close.
In the
It's the
same way
Eric and
that
Kenny thing.
there we go. Her other
Yeah.
dad. Everybody becoming their daddy, man.
Yeah, she fires her. Which, I mean, I guess it's a bold one. Maybe I guess the story has passed. Nobody really cares. Yeah, nothing will probably shut up.
And who is going to polish it? Who's going to publish it?
Yeah.
Nothing will crush it.
Yeah. Like, I don't even, this is the thing about, I do not know where Yasmine's story can go.
I don't know.
Like,
I feel like it's such a lovely blank sheet that you can literally write anything onto.
Yeah, I'm sure they are thinking, I can't wait to figure this out. Like they said, they like to write themselves into a corner. I'm not saying like it's impossible. I think it's very possible. I think they'll know this story. They already have ideas. But I'm just like, normally what you're showing, like, I can maybe figure out one or two.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That's fair.
Nothing.
And I think
she's not just going to be, 100%. She's not just living on the farm or the whatever doing housework. That's not what she's going to do. So it's like, what does she do?
I think she's in a very similar position, like story-wise, that Harper was in last season. At the end of last season. Yeah.
But the difference is that we knew Harper was going to try her best to get back into the world.
Into the industry.
Yasmine isn't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's just like, even let's talk about Harper. Or do you have anything else about Yasmine?
Let's talk about Harper. I think it's time.
Let's talk about Harper. Let's just do Rishi. Let's just silo off Rishi, do Rishi and Harper, and then we'll do the rest. So she tells Rishi to come over for an interview. Oh. And I was like, oh, her season is just her getting one back on every person that pissed off last season.
All her ups.
But then I was like, oh, you know how we discussed her face in episode 7 when Rishi's like,
it's always been me, babe. Yeah.
And I was like, was it actually disappointment? Was she like, I thought you would have changed, or I was hoping you had changed?
Or maybe it is disappointment, because I feel like she does to him what Eric kind of, not Eric. Yeah, what Eric kind of did to her, but also what she tried to do to Rishi. At the end
so I have it on my note. I was like, she's hilarious, because by the time Eric told Rishi that Harper had to go, she already started to get rid of Rishi. So why is she acting? Yeah.
I think this gets me to, and maybe we can talk about this at the end, but do we think that this is genuine change? Because I think there's genuine change from Harper.
We'll get to that because it's part of the larger Harper story. Let's just finish with Rishi. Obviously, Rishi's ambushed by Sweet Pea, and then we see that Harper is we see that Harper is planning on hiring the two, what do you call it, cheap juniors in Rishi's words, Sweet Pea and Araj, instead of hiring Rishi. And in that scene, obviously Rishi Rishi says that Sweet Pea does OnlyFans and stuff like that, and that's the reason why Harper should not fire her. And Harper's like, I don't care. She's what they call it. She's an opportunist. But apart from the Times Up,
she says,
okay,
I don't
love a woman.
Yeah, I love a woman who doesn't leave anybody on the table. Come on, man. Yes. Feminism.
Rishi, as in, I am fully going on board with the Rishi Stratford agenda that I think we've created, and that's where he's from. Because the quotes that he was like, she's brass.
She's brass. That's
sells
crazy.
Her beef curtains. On his phone, when Harper texts him, the messages that he's received from his friends or co-workers are from Obi and Kwasi. And I was like, bro, you grew up beside Westfield. What's going on? But an important line from that, or 2 lines from that interaction, is that Harper is like, obviously, Rishi, you're a punter, whatever you take, which is all discussed, you take chances. And then she's like, a machine could do your job. And Sweepy says, and they already do. And I think that plays into the resolution of Eric's story.
Yes.
About how they talk about automation, which we'll get to Eric. So I was like, that was quite interesting. Yeah, and then some months later, we don't really know how much time has passed. But considerable amount of time has passed.
We should actually start before. Oh no, you want to finish off Rishi now?
Yeah, so I want to finish off Rishi. Okay. Rishi is met with Vinay and Diana, and as we discussed, eventually leads to Vinay shooting Diana in the headshots.
Single tap. Blood everywhere. Blood on Rishi's face. Blood on his hands. All because she was trying to defend him. You know what? If she had just kept quiet, she would have actually been alive.
Yeah. In my head, I was like, which is why I knew. I was like, Diana, you need to keep quiet. This is you're provoking this person. I was like, stop. Yeah, okay. So I think I've kind of reached, like we said, again. So they've mentioned as a joke, but I don't think it's really a joke because I know who these people are. They're like, what's season 4? And they said Michael Clayton in London. And I was like, okay. But like, Michael Clayton is played by George Clooney, who is like a fixer, right? So it's kind of like, it's like an economic thriller, that's the way a business thriller, finance thriller, that's the way to put it.
Yeah.
But there's murder, there's stuff, so it's kind of like, I was like, oh, the Rishi storyline seems like most obvious thing here before obviously we get into the end of Harper's story. And I was like, oh, okay, actually no, let's go to Harper. Okay, Harper. Where do you want to start with Harper?
We have to start at the beginning.
At the beginning, right?
So beginning of the episode, so last episode, Bonville and Otto Mostin picks her up and brings her to where he's apparently fishing and making ceviche.
In full like official attire. He's still wearing his shirt and his tie.
Yeah.
With a fishing vest. I was like,
fishing vest, yeah. Fashion. Fashion. So there he basically tells her that, look, your babe snitched on you, but like I fucks with you heavy because of this illegal stuff you're doing. That's when I was in the game, that's how I used to run the game. And Peter, my boy, you're not running the game no more. I need you to take over. And she was like,
Great
cool.
summary.
I mean, that's what they said. And she's like, cool, man. Like, you know, as a black woman, I'll make a perfect front for you.
Yeah.
And they toast.
Do they toast?
Fish. With fish.
He says he's not Beelzebub. He's something worse. He's
a primate.
Primates aware of his mortality.
Yeah.
I was like, sure.
Fucking bars, nigga. Yeah.
Like, just lines.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, Otto. Yeah.
And then Petra and Harper summon him to the office.
Yes.
Where
they essentially break up with him.
Yes, amicably. So the idea is that obviously Petra was the one that stomped out. Together. But she's actually behind this, or she was just talking about the, what they call it?
Yes.
Telling Otto. Okay. So when do you think they stomped out?
I think after the discussion with Otto.
So I think my main thing is like, why was their profit so low? Because at that point, last episode, it was still already quite high, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think the moment the markets woke up to the news that Almiraj was going to buy or merge or something.
So they stopped out after that.
I think it would have been after. My
only thing, because Otto expects them to still be running to that point, and he thought the money was going to be a lot.
I didn't understand that. I'm not going to lie. I didn't understand that. I thought they would have, because the main thing is if Otto is giving you this inside information that, hey, look, the stock price is going to bounce in the morning on this news. Basically telling you to stomp out now. Because this is when you make the most profit.
Yeah, I was very confused about this.
I didn't understand that. I didn't understand maybe
because he thought they were still running the shorts.
I don't know why they would. Like even Musk says,
unless he thought they had fallen through, like the Almiraj thing had fallen. I don't know.
No, because this is way after. Like Musk says, that Almiraj buying
will help you. Yeah, it's
was prosciutto money. Give him a couple $1 million.
I
So
was rallying.
yeah, this because the stock was rallying at that point.
Weird. Anyway, weird. Well, anyway, whatever. Yeah. So this is when I was like, oh, are they? Obviously, this is before the Rishi scene. But I'm like, oh, are they like actually quote unquote redeeming Harper?
That's what I was thinking.
Like she's like actively choosing the better option, like she's
Yes.
actively choosing the safe option, the more humane option.
The more humane
And
option, yeah.
so like Eric and Yasmine's insult at her didn't push her further down into darkness, but actually brought her into the light. And I was like, oh, this is obviously she still has scores to settle, which she does with Rishi.
With Rishi. Excellent. But she's not a good girl. She's not a good girl.
Yeah, she hires women, she supports sex work. She just has all the ticks. Yeah, she hired a white
But like when
woman.
she says no unilateral decisions, that like she meant that. I was like, I actually believe that. I think she's actually really trying to change.
Oh, I think she was, and I think the show tells her that she did.
That she did, right?
Not for too long, but
I mean, we'll see. We'll see what that means because she does, stick with Petra. They amicably split ways with Otto.
Mm-hmm.
She shits on Rishi, hires Sweet Pea and Anraj, and then I don't know how many months later, but a few months.
A few months.
We are
I think
in
it's
a scene. Yeah, we're in the office with them. The office assistant, I don't know what her name is.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna call her Jess Beautiful too. Jess Beautiful 2 comes and says, well, she brings donuts for everybody because it's Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says that they're going to start having team dinners for bonding. The first Wednesday of every month.
She's cleared out the next 12 months, which is insane. I'm sorry. Even me, that would scare me away as well. Like, don't plan out my next year.
Harper, I just read that as Harper reading. She looks around, she's like, yo, this is becoming like normal. Like this isn't fun for me anymore.
Yeah, so I think because I have to my notes, because I assumed I don't know, I was just thinking I was closer to a year than 6 months. So
maybe
there's no indication for them just using that. But my thing, which is Harper was the person I mentioned earlier, like we went through a whole season of her arc in this one episode.
Yeah.
Because there's an arc here of Harper realizing that she can't be doing what she's been doing. She's going to try to be in a functional, healthy business relationship and doing normal work.
Mm-hmm.
But then she realizes during the course of the season that for her, the action is really the juice.
It is.
And she hates being happy. To what do you call it? Jesse's point.
Yeah.
And then she returns to something that will like quote unquote excite her. That's a season's arc.
Fair.
No matter where you want, how you want that's done in a season. No matter how you want to divide it. Any other show will do that across a season. And we'll be like, this is an incredible examination of this character's love for the game or like love for the fight or whatever. And we'll be like, oh, the show tried to redeem this character, but we realized that it was really darkness that was pulling them in and they couldn't avoid. And the show, they just like, nah, we're going to do that in 4 scenes.
6 minutes. 6 minutes. And it will be just as effective.
Yeah. And yeah, so to me, I think she tries. I also don't even think she's like, I'll be surprised if this show starts and we get Harper from season 2 episode 7 or Harper from season 3 episode 3. I think there will be, as in this is season 4, I think there will be some change in her character.
I definitely think her character, I think there's a step change that's happened. I think she's not going to want to be like someone like Petra who can't have friends. I think she does want to, like work with people and have a good time working with the people that she works with. But I think the work itself. So for me, I think there's 2 things there that will need to happen for her in season 4. I think she, in a little bit like Rishi, I think she's addicted to the risk. Like I think that's like what you said, the juice. That's it for her. but I also think she hates being told what to do. And I think Petra, like they were making unilateral decisions, but I think she wants to make her own decisions.
Bilateral decisions. And do you think they're making? I don't
So,
think they're making decisions together. Yeah,
together, yeah, they're making decisions together. But I think she really wants to make unilateral decisions at the end of the day.
I think your first point, I fully agree with that. I think like she's going for a short only fund.
Yeah,
that seems like you're tempting the world to fight you.
But like not just a short only fund, because there's like short only firms that put out research pieces, like Hindenburg Research. But like she also wants to do espionage. She also just wants to do that. Like for me, that was the main thing. Like it wasn't even that, I want to do a short, because like you can, there are short sellers everywhere. But like she's like, okay, but we're not going to do it clean. Like if we're shorting someone, it's because we know. Not that we
corporate espionage.
It's not like we think. It's not like we think it's going to go to zero. It's because we know. And I think that's incredible.
Even her choosing to want to go back to New York is like, obviously there's the there's the story point of view where like, okay, maybe now we want to finally see her mom. I'm sure her mom will play a part next season. I'll be surprised if she doesn't. I mean, based on what we know about her mom, she's quite terrible. So whatever character they write has a lot to live up to.
She's gonna fall off a plane.
But what was I going to say? But yeah, as in like, why do you think she wants to go back to New York? Is it just tired of the environment, or?
I think she's done with London in the sense that I think all the growth that she was going to gain, she's gained it. And also I think that call with Eric like clears it up for her.
I was trying to remember if the call was after, but I think it was after. But yeah, I think it just cements it. Yeah. I hope we get a bit of Jesse Bloom next season. That would be nice.
I'd love that.
I was thinking though, like him with Robert now in California, like there's no reason for not Greg. Well, let's talk about Greg, but there's no reason for Gus not to show up, even if just for a little bit.
That's what I was thinking too. James Ashford invested in Rob.
Yeah, $500,000.
Shout out James, man. My second favorite character.
Does he know that he's invested in the same fund or the same business as Mark?
Probably.
Has anyone told him? Yeah, so like I think that was it for me for Harper, just the way she went through this. And I guess she does have two conversations with the two people that she's like
closest to.
It's so funny because the show reminds you that like things change after a year.
Like time passes.
Time passes, and those incredibly hurtful statements that you guys made after a while, just like you move on. If that makes sense. It's I don't know if it's a cynical or romantic way to even look at it, but it's just like the way life is. Like, should we do her conversation with Eric first? Because Eric gave a quote for her on Forbes. What is it? A dropout that is incredibly ambitious, something like that. I can't remember.
I don't remember, but yeah, along those
something
lines.
like that. And their conversation was just great. I think like the way she says, "I hope they paid you," is like, yeah, I don't know. It's just it was kind of, again, is a series finale, right? Series finale writing, right? It's like I
thought that was the first conversation that they had where I think they both viewed themselves as
equals.
Equals, yeah.
I would say second. The first was when they were planning the move at the end of season 2. When he was like, "I'm out of moves. This is all on you." But I agree with you. I agree. They're definitely equals in this scene.
Yeah.
And even the fact that like he answers, I was like, "Oh, you're past it." The same way when she answers Yasmine, I was like, "Oh, okay, we're past it." Yeah, okay. And then so let's talk about Yasmine. Her call with Yasmine. Where again, just like, oh, you guys have like, I don't know if you guys will ever be like, you're not going to be bridesmaid at Yasmine's wedding.
They won't be besties immediately.
Yeah,
but I think she goes for the
wedding. Is Rob invited to Yasmine's wedding?
I think Mock invites Rob.
How many exes are you allowed at a wedding? I was discussing this already.
I don't know.
Give you a number. If I said I was inviting 3 exes of mine to my wedding, would you think that's too much?
No.
You don't have a number of that's too many exes.
No. It depends.
Why?
Because it depends. What's your situation with the exes?
By the way, it's like too many people here have said.
I've seen it. Like, why? So what?
No, as in just like it's too many. Why is friends with so many exes? I don't know. My number is. I think my number is 3. I think 3 is the most you can have.
Okay. I think it's okay.
But
you can have 6.
Whatever. 6. Anyone who's listening, if you have a number, let us know. Some people say 1. Some people said you should never have an ex at the wedding.
Yeah, no.
Like even if they're your friendship group. Okay, let's talk about Eric. Anything else about Harper you want to talk about?
No. She could go now.
This was again part of where I was just like, I can't believe you guys are doing this. I was just awestruck. I was like, you guys are just running through reams of story.
Bruh. That was what I was
just
thinking about this episode. But they're doing it in a way that I guess they hadn't done it in this season, where it's very like it's just happening. It's a bit like life. It's just like, oh.
Yeah.
It's Eric. So Eric's story begins in the morning. He brings in Al Mirage. It looks like he's going to work. And then Tom tells him to go rally the troops to sell. And he gives an inspirational speech. Banky, were you inspired?
No, but I can imagine if I was in the room, I would be.
Fair.
Were you inspired?
Not at all. It's like, I'm so cynical.
That's
when he was like, you have your jobs. I was like, do we? I don't know, man.
No, I mean, somebody says like,
someone says,
okay, your nose is growing or something like that in that scene. Like, I think it's later that the inspiration comes in though, when he starts talking about like money is peace and stuff like that.
Did you go and read that short story?
No, it seemed longer than I can do with
I'm gonna read it though.
Yeah, there's not a lot of prep time for this episode. Yeah, no, I think I was very cynical because even when he says, I imagine myself as a grad coming in with the immigrants, I was like, oh, he's doing it.
There we go, man.
I was like, he's doing it. And then later he confessed, I was like, oh, yeah. But like, I think if I was in the room, to already be in that room, you're pliable for that kind of propaganda.
Fair.
So if I was in the room, I can imagine myself being like, okay, fuck it, let's go do this. It's different from, I was thinking about the Kevin Spacey speech to his people in Margin Call, where he's like, you guys have no job. Like, I don't want to tell you guys have no job. We're dead. But if you do this, you can't get paid today. Yeah. Like, he wasn't lying. Here, Eric is lying to them. Do you think that's what rubs Rishi the wrong way? It's just like, because I thought Rishi, I mean, I get it because again, it's Rishi, but I was like, why is he so angry at Eric?
I didn't get why he was so angry.
I don't know, maybe he's just called bullshit. Because his line, which is one of my favorite lines on the intercom, I was like, okay, maybe he's just angry at the fact that like the company is going down. And then I guess him at the lift was like, okay, well, like, oh, he's actually not fully, he's just part of the Rishi bravado. He's actually not fully behind the shit. Doesn't know why he's doing this.
Angry because there is a risk that, they all get downsized or whatever. But then also, he's in pain, like financially. They're squeezing him right now. So I think any destabilizing effect he's going to be angry at that.
So he just didn't go back to work the next day. Like he didn't go back to Pierpoint.
Yeah, I think after that morning, I think he leaves and then he's just like, okay, I have this job with.
Yeah, but Harper does that the next day. He should just go back to work the next day. Like nothing happened.
I don't know.
That was one of my favorite stories about Larry David. When he was talking at SNL, he just like one day he's quitting. He's shouting at like the head writer. He like apparently swears at him everything terribly. He's like, I'm done here, and then he just comes back to work the next day.
And then, nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Joking. And then like when he he's like, oh, I was just joking. Just
a bit.
He just stays in the job. I was like, that's so funny. Yeah, so we should have just done that to come back. Yeah, Eric. He gets paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
5 million a year for the next 4 years.
Kai.
What do you call it? Harbinger of Death, the HR guy.
That was such a good scene. I love that Eric was just like, don't even try and talk to me. Just tell me exactly what you're doing. I also like the fact that they were like, oh, we're not fighting you. We are
we're paying you.
Thank you. But yeah, we were right. Adler is dead.
Adler is dead.
That's dead. That was it. Because when Amina first says, see you on Thursday, I'm like, Eric, are you still having it?
But that would be nice. They're at least of close age.
They are.
At least closer, at least. This is actually healthy.
But yeah, she was like, yeah, for Bill's memorial. It's like,
there's a time frame for how long you should have a memorial, right? Like, it can be weeks or months.
I don't actually know, but it's usually near. It's usually within a few weeks.
I was trying to use that to try and figure out where we were in terms of time, but it didn't really work. Yeah, and Tom was fired for being gay.
Did we know this?
No, we didn't. I don't know how we would have known this.
Okay, because I was like, did I miss something huge? But yeah, they fired Tom for his lifestyle. I was like, wow. That's crazy.
So funny. Like, his lifestyle was so funny. I was like, oh, this organization.
Had Eric always been the head of institutional security?
No.
Okay, so that's
it was. I think that's what Adler promised him.
Okay.
So with the Al-Miraj merger, that's what he got that. He got that role.
You couldn't even get CFO after getting rid of Adler.
Didn't Wilhelmina stay as CFO?
Wilhelmina would have stayed as CFO. Oh yeah, that was Adler's plan to kill Wilhelmina. Yeah.
But now Wilhelmina is probably going to be CEO.
Yeah.
Which a woman CEO, I wonder how long they will keep that. Considering they fire people for their quote unquote lifestyles.
Almiraj Pierpoint is a modern firm, sorry.
What did you say?
I said Almiraj Pierpoint is a modern firm. Of course they can't keep a woman CEO.
Yeah. Oh god. I was like, who was it? I think it was Eric in the boardroom in episode 7 where it was like they're anathema to all our values, and I'll see. I don't know why your imperialism is better than ours.
Great line. Also, the music, incredible.
I think that scene was when I was like, oh, these guys are going to play around with the directing, because the scene starts very handheld, goes from the screen to like Eric's lips and then his eyes, and then it rotates around the room. I was like, oh, this is different. We've never really had something like this before. Yeah, I think that's surprising. I think we've kind of covered everything.
Yeah.
And where do you think Eric was afraid that we might not. I don't know. If they told me Eric was not coming back next season, I would not be surprised.
Neither would I. I think he does. I think he does.
But then let's assume. Let's assume Eric doesn't come back next season.
No.
What is the point of his story in that sense? Well, how would you summarize not the lesson or whatever, but like what is the thesis of Eric's story over these 3 seasons if he doesn't come back next season?
He gave birth to 3 children. That's his story. And then we get to watch them and see how he's impacted them. That would be, for me, that would be it.
Yeah. I'm just trying to, because what are they saying about the class of Erics, like the people who were there in 2008 and were now the mentors in 2019? What are they saying? What was the show saying about those kind of people? If this is the end of Eric's story, I don't know. I might need to think about that.
Maybe that if you can't become management, they will automate you away.
And like the world is like, because like the world is not necessarily pushing those people away.
I mean, you don't see those guys on the floor anymore. Like, think about it. The floor was very young by the time it closed up.
So it's actually a young man's game.
Rishi was one of the oldest people on the floor.
And it's only like what, mid to late 30s?
Mid to late 30s, maybe early 40s, yeah. Because he said
I don't think he's reached 40.
Mid to late 30s, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is still young.
It's interesting.
Eric is what, 50?
Ish, yeah. He's been there for 30 years, right? So
that's at least 50.
No, definitely. He needs to, people doesn't know his first job, so mid-50s maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, in the end, he still won. Let's be honest. Like he still, I think maybe that might be another thing. Like what?
I said big time.
Yeah, that might be another thing. These guys don't really ever lose, unless you're Adler. But that's a different kind. That's one somebody inside is backstabbing you. But like in the end, he gets paid 20 million over 4 years. Like that's the way. Like yeah, Tom as well will probably get paid a ridiculous amount of money because they are trying to clearly stop a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Eric got 20 million, I can't imagine how much Tom's gonna get.
Triple? Quadruple?
Maybe? Oh, I don't know.
Quintuple?
But no, I mean, okay, you said you didn't love this episode. Is it because of the reasons already touched? Like, it just wasn't that bombastic, or are there other reasons?
No. I mean, I liked it. It's just not. Okay, when I say I didn't love it, I mean it's not my favorite episode of the season. It's not going to be my top 3.
What's your favorite episode of the season?
I've been struggling. So my top 3 are 5, 6, 7.
What's 5? 4 is Rishi. 5 is Robert.
5 is 5. Company man.
Yeah, company man. 5, 6, 7. I think my top 3 are, I don't know if this is the order, but 6, 3, 7. I think we've kind of forgotten about 3. Oh no, you didn't love 3.
Oh
as
yeah,
much.
yeah. Okay. Remember, like when your favorite was 3, mine was 5.
5,
like when we spoke to Mickey and Conrado earlier.
Yeah, I think mine is 6, 3, 7.
Yeah, mine is 5, 6, 7.
It might be 6, 7, 3 in order. If I'm
in order, yeah.
6, 7, 3.
Yeah. It might be 6, 7, 5 or 7, 6, 5. I'm in between 6 and 7. That's my favorite. Yeah. But yeah. So when I say I didn't love it, I mean it wasn't like it didn't take those heights. But
yeah, I think this is
a very good episode of television.
In which every episode is very good. As in this season, sorry.
Let's start the fucking dialogue then. Let's start the dialogue, Banky. Because I've been trying to start this dialogue with you all season.
What's that? You have to tell me what's the thesis? What's the point? What's the question you're asking?
Fucking dialogue. When you start,
you can't just keep on saying it. What is the dialogue you want to have?
This is an all-timer.
Like season
of television.
What are the all-timers?
All time. We have to start dialogue.
Oh my god! I mean, I don't know.
I'm happy that they landed the finale so that we can start dialogue.
It's an important conversation to have. How do you have that conversation?
I don't know. Based on feelings.
No, I just mean as like, how many Breaking Bad seasons do you put in? How many Succession seasons do you put in? Like
maybe 2 Breaking Bad seasons. Let's be honest. Maybe 2. 4 and 5. I don't care if they split 5 into 2.
So you take 5 as 1.
Yeah, 5 as 1.
Wait, but where did?
I think that's 4.
Oh, okay. So you take that. I mean, we haven't. You and I haven't watched. Oh, you haven't finished Mad Men. I haven't watched Sopranos. So anyway, it's an all-timer. We don't need to rank.
I'm going to go watch Sopranos now. Well, when I'm done with my Buffy the Vampire Slayer rewatch.
Do you remember when you last said this?
Yeah, I remember.
You're going to go watch Sopranos so you can have the conversation. Do you remember what it was?
What was it about? Was it Succession? Yeah, it was Succession. I remember.
You want to watch Sopranos just so you can have the conversation.
I got sidetracked. Look, on my sidetrack, do you know I just remembered when I started watching Buffy? The theme song of Buffy is really good. It slaps. You know, I'm a skip intro kind of guy. I let that one play. Well,
every time.
Not every time.
So you can't like because Buffy's like 20 episodes a season,
bruh. Except for the first season, which is like 12. Or something. Anywho, I think this is one of the best seasons of television I've ever watched. And that's me putting it up against the Breaking Bads, against the Successions, against the Hero season 1, like
Hannibal season 2.
Hannibal season. I think this is
season 5. I think I would rather just mention the great ones instead of having to rank them, because you're right. I think this. I'm
not ranking them, but I think this is. Yeah. I think we have to start the conversation. This is the perfect season of television. It is perfect.
I think I agree with you. And again, I was just very surprised because I went into this like, you guys season 2 was incredible, and I'm very okay with season 3 being slightly worse.
That's me now for season 4. That's me now for season 4. Because I'm like, I don't. Can you do it again? I mean,
I
they
don't see
can.
it.
They can. But like,
I hope.
Jesus.
I guess
If they do, then we have to have a very different conversation.
a very different conversation.
I have a very different dialogue. We have to start a very different dialogue. And I'll be the first to say it. I'm brave.
They'll change the
Not as
genre
stupid
next
as some
season.
people that saw, okay, not stupid, but not as brave as some people I saw on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that tweet when it was like, enough time has passed. And then they put industry greater than Succession. I was like, enough time hasn't passed.
Yeah, I was like, count. I think actually, I think William is on that trade. If he's listening, he'll let us know that's true. I was like, William, I think that's just your bias. I think that's you being there I think all of us, because we're there from the ground floor for industry, we're championing it a lot more than we should. I'm like, guys, come on. Enough time hasn't passed. You're right.
Enough time hasn't passed. Let's be honest.
No one loves industry more than me. I'm sorry, but
that's true. And also, no one I know loves Succession more than you.
I can't think to my children. But
let's see. If season 4 is as good as this, then we have to start a fucking dialogue. Because I think that's my overall thing for this season.
I think the thing for us,
perfect.
The thing for you and I, William, with all these people that started from season 1, is that I'm not saying this in a way that is trying to be rude to anyone that binged or whatever, but it was a bit different seeing the show evolve in real time.
Yeah.
People that binge the show, like, okay, this is just like season 1, season 2, season 3. You don't spend 2 years between season 1 and season 2 expecting a certain kind of show, and then it becomes a different, much better kind of show in season 2. And then you spend 2 years waiting for season 3, expecting a particular kind of show, and then it comes back and it's much better. Like, that is you just appreciate the show a lot more that way, as opposed to someone that just watched 3 seasons in 2 weeks. Because to you, that's just one thing. To us, it's basically 3 different shows that we've watched.
It's kind of like, this is about to be blasphemous. It's kind of like you watch Batman Begins and then you wait, and then you get The Dark Knight, and then you're like, this is the best movie of all time. I don't care.
Yeah. You're right. As opposed to binging them,
as opposed to watching them back to back, and then you're like, oh no. But like, if you've seen Batman Begins and you're like, oh, this is good.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like the vibes here. This is a nice one.
Do you know what it is?
And you get The Dark Knight. Oh,
you know what it is? I think we can even use this, but it's better than the Dark Batman trilogy comparison because the quality is not as good.
Yeah,
I think it might be when we went in to watch Winter Soldier.
Fuck, that is it. That is it. That is the right one. That is the right one.
We're like, what?
That is the right one. That is the right one.
What just happened?
It is.
People who are, because pre-Endgame, people I was talking to, the people who've rewatched the entire Infinity Saga, don't appreciate Winter Soldier because everybody else watched it in 2014.
Or Civil War.
Because we're like, no, you don't understand. The first Captain America movie was an okay to good.
It's fine. It was
World
fine.
War II film.
It was fine.
Avengers, he was the worst character. I was like, you guys don't understand that. You don't understand what Winter Soldier means to us. It was like,
never get it. They can never get it. Jeez, I think that's the perfect comp. That's the perfect comp.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully, look, like people are asking us on YouTube. Hopefully, they get their awards. I mean, it's always weird for summer shows because the awards are
because it's so far away. It's so far away.
And the cutoff is like 6 months away. And HBO is going to bring out The Last of Us and White Lotus apparently before the next Emmys cutoff. So they're going to obviously push those shows, probably push House of the Dragon as well. Industry, honestly, would just have to be a grassroots campaign like everything else.
Yeah. They might, depending on how it goes. Like, if Dune Prophecy is good, they might also push that.
They're probably going to push Penguin as well.
They'll probably push Penguin. Like, anything that has a movie tie-in that was popular.
Yeah. But again, these things are happening. They always push the ones that come out next year more.
Yeah.
Last of Us and White Lotus are like their things. And those are both dramas already. So,
but let's be honest, this is at the moment, I don't think there's any other shows. And we'll keep talking about it
Oh, I mean, I think we agreed. Like, this is best drama of the year. It's best show of the
This
year.
is
Sorry,
the best show of the year. Yeah.
I don't think come next year Emmys there'll be 5 drama better than industry.
I'm so
But I'm just
fucking
talking about.
happy Shogun is not part of this. Part of this freaking conversation. What? What a sweep. God forbid. Never again.
They actually would do it again. No matter how good season 2 is, I don't think Emmy voters would do it again for them.
No, I just mean it should never happen again. That kind of sweep.
But like, there was no other.
There was nothing else. That is what I
Yeah.
mean. And that's what I mean. It's not like a show shouldn't be as good as Shogun was,
Yeah.
but like the way that there was just nothing else, really.
Yeah.
Like,
Because Shogun it clears drama, acting, writing. I think of one directing, but then it also has technical stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Succession doesn't usually win cinematography, or maybe or like editing. It doesn't always win technical as well as the things costume. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's why period pieces, a good period movie might be the most nominated movie at the Oscars or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Look, we're just gonna have to hope. I mean, none of us is a voter, so it's just to hope that HBO puts some money behind it. Maybe even if it's just yes, knock on wood. Even if it's to push Kit Harington as supporting actor, just something. Let's get them there somewhere.
Nah, I think we need a writing.
Give me no. I'm just saying Kit Harington because it's the star. Give me your ideal Emmys ballot, and I will end there.
In terms of shows, or
for industry.
I think they should win writing.
Or win. Okay.
No, not even nominated. I think they should win writing. Definitely nominated for best show.
What episode?
Bruh, take your pick, man. Probably 6.
Okay, so mine, I think
6.
I think they should get nominated for. Okay, this is a mixture of they should and I think what will happen or what could happen. I think get nominated for White Christmas writing. It's kind of episode that usually just gets the writing thing. If they get any directing, it'll probably be the finale. Or White Christmas, maybe.
I think White Christmas for directing, actually.
For directing, actually. Actually, yeah, I was going to say writing episode 6, but they're not the created writer on that episode. So people might like, we actually want to give the guys that created the show.
Yeah, fair.
I don't. It's again. I'm just trying to get into Emmy voters' heads. Look, man. I think 2 lead actresses, Marissa and Mahala.
Easy.
2 lead actors, Harry Lottie and Ken Long. 1 supporting actor, Kit Harington. Oh, not like him. This is me just fan casting here. 1 supporting actor, Kit Harington. I think Mustin and Norton are too many episodes to be guest actors. So let's scrap that. At least 1 writing, at least 1 directing. Best show. 1 cinematography. 1 score.
Score, definitely.
That's kind of my dream wish for.
Yeah. I really hope they get nominated in all those things. I wouldn't be angry if they don't. I hope they do. I will be upset if they don't get. Like, I would take to the streets if they don't get a writing nom and a best show nom.
Oh, okay. So if they don't get anything,
like regardless of anything else that comes out in the next 9 months,
they're not 5 shows better than it. It's just they're not going to be 5 shows better than it.
They're not going to be.
Yeah.
So I'll be upset.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be upset.
Me too. Don't worry. We will do a podcast on the day the Emmys are announced.
I don't know about June. That.
I've told you it's fine. I've made a decision for you. Or is it July? Can't remember. Anyway, the nominations, right? Not the actual award. But anyway, that's it. Let's wrap up there. This is your final talk about industry until our end of year podcast. Anything else you want to add?
What did the person at Net-a-Porter do? What do you mean? Why did they mock? What did they do? Why did they mock some famous?
He has a video of them peanut. Oh, speaking of, I am afraid that's the last we see of Sweet Pea and Anraj.
I'm really scared about that too. Yeah. I think Sweet Pea has been the breakout character, so hopefully they bring her back. Yeah.
I'm surprised that was actually the end of Venetia. That's what I was surprising. I was like, oh, actually, you just left. Fair enough.
Yes. Aurora was mentioned. She's now the Chancellor. Yay.
Yeah. Greg. We didn't talk about Greg, but Greg is back. He had only one writing job, one book idea, and he wrote it and he came back to business. At least he's a published author. He has a beard now. The guy beside him, we had never seen him before, right?
At least I don't remember if we had.
Yeah, so it's confirmed. Okay, anything else? I think that's we've covered everything, right? This is an extensive episode. Okay.
Long live industry, long live Sweet Pea. Forever loyal.
Yeah, long live Mickey and Conrad. Excited for season 4. Whatever else they want to do will be there. It's been really fun. Really fun listening to you guys, the little industry community that's been growing year on year. Keep on telling people about the show. And yeah, we got a renewal before the season ended. This has never happened before, so we're very excited. And yeah, 2 more episodes and then we'll go on a little break, and then we'll be back with Bad Sisters. Speaking of good dramas,
Bad Sisters.
Yeah, Bad Sisters fan, aren't you? Yeah, you are, because we talk about John
Fanatic.
Paul.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for listening. Join us next week. We'll be joined by Oscar winner Daniel Kaluuya. Bye, guys.
John Paul.
God forbid.
We're joined by John Paul. Wow, Bangy, this is the longest episode we've ever done.
Yeah, and it's just 2 of us.
That was 2 hours.